So in this video, I want to show you how you can create a custom animated bottom bar so that when you click on a new tab, you can see the fade in and fade out effect. The newly selected tab fade in and the other tab fade out. This video has two parts. In the first part, we're going to create the UI for the navigation bar like in the box. And in the second part, we are going to learn how to create the fade in and fade out animation. I know Flutter has support for the bottom navigation bar, but we're going to create our own custom navigation bar so that we can lay out the text and the icons horizontally and also to create the animation. So let's go back to our project. I'm going to create a folder named widgets. And inside the widgets folder, I'm going to create a custom navbar. And our custom navbar is a status widgets. I'm going back to the main file and define the bottom navigation bars to use our custom navbar. So the reason why you see the white screen here is because we have not defined the height. I also have another class called custom navbar item. So the navigation bar will have 3 items, and each item will have an icon and a text. So inside the container here, you're gonna have a row, and the row has 3 children. They are all custom navbar items. So inside our custom navbar item, we're gonna have a row, which contains icon and a text. So I'm just gonna hardcode the icon and text to be home for now. Now I'm going to define the type for every single bottom bar item. We have 3 types: home, events, and messages. So I'm going to create an enum bottom bar. And the bottom bar enums it has 3 types: home, events, and messages. And inside the custom navbar item, we need to have a tab bar. And the bottom bar type is the type that this navigation bar item is. So going back to navbar class, so we have the type for the first child to be a bottom bar home. The second one is events, and the last one is messages. And because the navigation bar item has the type, we now can get the appropriate icons for the type. So we're going to have a function get icon, and this would check the type of the navigation bar item and return the appropriate icons widgets. I'm using the calendar for the events, and for the messages, I just use the question and answer icons. So I'm going to replace the hard-coded icon with the get icon function. Refresh, so you can see a new icon. And we're going to do the same thing for text. I'm going to have a function get title. And we're going to copy this and return the appropriate strings. And I'm going to use the get title function and put that for the text. So now we have the correct icon and correct text. Next, I'm going to add some styling to our bottom bar. I'm going to add some padding. And the padding is going to be symmetric, Horizontal value is about 20 and vertical value is about 10. And the box decorations, just have the color to be white. And we want all the widgets to have approximately the same amount of width. So we're going to set the main axis alignment to be spaced evenly. Now we are going to add some active state for the navigation item so that we can show the orange color when the tab is active. I'm going to have a boolean code is active inside the navigation bar item. And you can pass in the is active value from the custom navigation bar. So I'm going to set just the home to be active and the other two the item to be false. So the width of the tab is gonna be dependent on the active state. If it's active, then it's gonna be 150 pixel. Otherwise, it's just only 50 pixel, and the height is only 50 pixels. And we can remove the height of the nav bar. Let's add some decorations to the tab. It's going to have a box decoration and it has a radius is about 10 and the color is dependent on the active state. If it's active, it's going to be primary color, otherwise it's going to be transparent. So we got something here. We do the same thing for icons and the title. Again, if the icon is active, it has a white color, otherwise it's gonna be gray color. And you do the same thing for the text. You don't have to worry about the overflow warning. We're going to fix that in a moment. We want to show the text only in active state, and you can do that by wrapping the text with the visibility widgets with the visible state depending on the active state or not. And the last thing we're going to do here is to set the main axis alignment to be center so that both the icon and the text are centered. So the next thing I want to do is to implement the on-click listener for the tab so that whenever I click on the tab item, the main content of the app navigates and switch to a different screen. So I'm going to have a callback function called on tab click. And this is being passed to the constructor of the custom navbar. And inside, going back to the main, I'm going to define the on tab click. So we'll keep it empty for now and we'll come back to it later. I'm going to pass the callback from the navbar to the navbar item. So we have the same callback inside the navbar item. And to handle the click, I'm to wrap the container inside the gesture detector and override the on tab function. So whenever it click, I can make a call back to the main widgets. So now we need to pass the callback from the navbar to the navbar item. And going back to the main, whenever it's a callback is called, I'm going to animate the main content to the appropriate state. We have to wrap this inside a set state so that the UI of the application can be updated. Otherwise, you're not going to see the UI updated. The duration is going to be about 300 milliseconds and the curve is going to be ease. So let's try this. So cool. So as you can see here, you can see the main content of the app navigate whenever I click on a tab. So the reason why the tab color has not changed when we click on it is because we are hard-coding the active state of the tab. We're setting the active state of the home tab to be true and the other tabs to be false. In order to fix this, we're going to have a variable called the current tab. And this stores the current state of the tab that's being active. And this is being passed from the parent component. So going back to the main widgets, we're going to add the bottom bar, the current tab variable. And initial values is going to be home. And we pass that current tab from the main widgets to the custom navbar. So instead of hard coding the active state to be true, now we only want the home tab to be active when the current tab is equal to home. The same thing for events and messages. Going back to the main, we want that every time we click on a tab, the on tab click is called, and we want to set the current tab in the main to be the new tab. We can see here that the UI of the bottom navigation tab is updated whenever I click on the tab. The last part of the video is to create the animation for the bottom bar. The trick here is to use a widget called animated container. Let's go back and open the documentations of our animated container. So you can read the document here, they even have the video, but I'm going to skip that and go to example. You can try to run the example. You click on the container. As you see, when I click on the container, the width, the height, color, and alignment of a chart change. So the way it works is that for every single property, it has the starting value and the ending value before and after the animation. So when the width properties animate, its value slowly change from 200 to 100 pixels. The same thing applies for the height, color, and alignment of the child. So let's apply the animated container for our project. Let's go back to the custom navbar items. Let me quickly add the padding for the icon and the text. I'm going to set the padding is about 8 pixels. Next, I'm going to wrap our container inside an animated container and move all the width, the height, and the decoration from the container to the parent's animated container. But the reason why you see a red warning here is because we haven't defined the duration. We're going to set the duration to about 300 milliseconds. And the curve is going to be the linear curve. So let's try it. You can see the animation of the navbar item, the animation of the tag, and the icon. But there's one problem here. You can see some warning during the animation, and this only happened during the animation, not before or after the animation. So the reason why it happened, because during the animation, the total width of all the navbar item exceed the width of the navbar item. So to solve the problem here, we need to wrap the navbar item inside a single giant score view so that it doesn't overflow the parents. We're going to set the physics to be non-scrollable because we don't want user to scroll the item here. And the direction is going to be horizontal. And we need to set the width of the container to be 150 because by default, the scroll view have the only child to be left aligned, and we want to center on the child. Let's try that. So You can see here we no longer see the warning because the icon and the text are being wrapped inside the scope view. So the beauty of the animated component is that you don't need a controller. You even don't need to specify the value during the animation. You just need to specify the beginning and the ending value of the animation. This concluded our lesson today. In the next videos, we're going to build the events and messages screen. If you'd like to see more animation tips and tricks, so please subscribe to the channel. If there's enough subscription, I will consider opening a course on the principal design for Flutter and how to do cool animation.